is it interest rates applied to mortgages rise instantly as and when the base rate increases, and yet it takes months to reverse when the base rate reduction is applied?
You're going to get me start defending the banks here, it sounds like.
I think so.
To be fair, I think people don't really realise the timing lagging effect of when rates change. It's because when rates change to increase, it's the cost of borrowing, because that's what it ultimately is what are they getting debt for? And there's also always a lag. So people are very conservative, and when prices increase, they reflect them very quickly. But when prices drop, it's whoever first has the guts, as you'll notice with the banks, to cut the price of lending, i.e. the interest rate. And that sometimes takes time, because they may have bought debt at a higher cost and they have to get rid of the debt that they've already bought, because that is what they're ultimately using to lend.
So they're lending what they've already bought?
Of course.
Okay.
And that timing effect, and when things change rapidly, and this is what's been happening, it's causing banks a lot of problem, because they forecast, because they have something called the balance sheet, and they have to manage their cash liquidity, and they have to forecast so many months ahead. And if they bought loads of debt at a higher rate and they weren't anticipating it to drop, then it comes down to the individual banking institution on what debt they've already got on the books to lend, because ultimately that's what they're doing. And they make a margin, just like we do if you're investing in property.
Sure.
You make a margin on what rent you charge to the cost of actually running the business, like mortgage interest and everything else. So without defending the banks, I think that's what happens. But then it comes down to being a savvy investor, to look in the market, get a good mortgage broker, look in the market and see who's lending the money at the most cost-effective rate. And that's why there's a variation. And you'll see that with banking institutions.
But to stop hardship in that area, do you think it's an idea? I mean, I've heard over the years many times the argument whether residential property lending for homes and make that distinction between homes and investment, should perhaps lending for homes be divorced from base rate